Good morning, fourth graders. Today we are going to continue on with what we were practicing yesterday. We're on page 159 and it's Unit 10, Lesson 2. So, although we're going to be continuing, our objective is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to write, today I will name or draw points, comma, lines, comma, line segments, comma, rays, comma, and angles, period. So yesterday we were just defining them and learning their names. Today we're actually going to be practicing with them a little bit more. Okay, so let's remind ourselves of our vocabulary a little bit. So remember what a point is. It's just the exact location and it's usually going to be a capital letter. Okay, the big part about our line is our two arrows. It goes on forever and ever. And our notation for our line has two arrows also. Okay, remember a line segment means a part of, and a line segment has two end points, and our notation is a straight line. Okay, before I go on, remember, let's go back. This line could have also been called CB, because I could have read it that direction, and my line segment could have also been named CB. Now let's look at our ray though. Our ray is only part of a line. It has one end point and one arrow that tells us it goes on forever and ever. Now the thing about this ray is we can only name it BC. We can't go from the arrow to the end point. It has to always be read from the end point. Okay, and our angle is formed. We have our two arrows, but then we also have this vertex endpoint. And remember, when we read or write this, we need our notation, which is kind of like a sideways V, and we could read it as long as we follow the path of the angle. So I could go A, B, C, or I could have gone C, B, A. Okay, so I could go C, B, A. That's how I could read that. Okay. Now, our steps today are we're going to look at the drawing to determine whether its properties belong to a point, line segment, ray, or angle, and then answer the question. So our main part today is we're just going to be answering the questions that they're going to be giving us. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to set down my green pen, and I'm going to pick up my red pen and turn to my teacher book if you want to follow along just with your eyes for a moment. Here's my problem. It says, name the line segments that make up the triangle below. Okay, so they want me to name line segments. Line segments are end points to end points. They look like this. That's what a line segment looks like, but its notation is just this, straight line. Well, what do I see? I see this endpoint, and I would name that AC. So notation tells me line segment AC. The same thing I could have called line segment CA, because I could have read it that direction. I have this line segment, which I could name line segment CB, or I could name that same one line segment BC, because I could go either direction. And then I have this line segment, and that line segment's AB, so line segment AB or line segment BA. So these are the same one, these are the same one, and these are the same one, but it's just different ways of how I could say that. Okay, let's look at my next one. Name the rays that make up the angle, then name the angle. Okay, so the rays, what I remember is a ray looks like this. It's an end point with the arrow. Okay, and the symbol for this, or the notation, just is that. I don't have my end point on it. So my rays are, if I look at it just this way and I cross off some of it, if I just cross that off, that's a ray. Now remember, the ray always has to be read from the end point on. So that ray could be called BA. I also see another ray right here, and that ray would be called BC. But they also want me to name the angle. So the notation for the angle looks like that. And I can read my angle as long as I stay on the path, and I have to include all 3 points. So this angle is angle ABC. Or I could have read that angle CBA. And those are the same thing. It's just different ways to write it. Okay, so let's try this together, ladies and gentlemen. We are on page 160. And it says, name the line segments that make up the square below. Okay, so remember, line segments are 2 endpoints. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so we have this line segment right here. So when I write that, my notation just is this. So notation, line segment, PS, or we could have called that line segment SP. Okay, we also have this line segment, which is line segment PQ, or we could have said line segment QP. They're exactly the same thing. We have this line segment, which is line segment QT, or line segment TQ. And then we have this line segment, which is line segment ST, or line segment TS. So just remember, those are the same, those are the same, those are the same, and those are the same. There's really only 4 line segments. They just can be named differently. Okay, let's look at our next one. Name the rays that make up the angle, then name the angle. Okay, so our first ray, I see is that right there. Because remember, a ray has 1 endpoint and then goes on forever. Now the symbol for ray is, or notation is that. And I can name this ray QP. I cannot name this PQ. So this one's only going to have 1 way to write it. This ray is named ray QR. Okay. They also want us to name the angle. So my notation for angle is this. And remember, when I do the angle, I have to follow the path. So this is P, Q, R, or angle R, Q, P. And those are the same thing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today you actually have quite a bit to practice. So turn the page, you're going to turn the page again, and you're going to turn the page again. So 3 pages. Have a nice afternoon.